Alrighty. Hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of From the Fourth Line. My name's Emma, and I'm joined as always by my lovely co-host Marcie.
Hello.
Hello. We're in like way too good a mood right now, considering the fact that the Leafs lost their last two games. But
It feels like so much has happened since the last game.
true,
that
like
it's
that
not
was
as
Saturday.
painful.
Yeah, like that was Saturday, and we are now on Monday. And the Leafs don't play until tomorrow, so it's like not even like we have like the dread of an upcoming game to think about. But yeah, I guess we can start with Leafs in New Jersey. Samsonov started in net. It was not his best night.
You could say that. Yeah.
Like the team, like the defense wasn't great either, but come on.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with Jake Allen that he like, yeah, okay, he still allowed 5 goals, but he just has these guys' number.
Yeah, it was, oh my god, I was so annoyed. I was sat there and I was like, can he like I know I always root for goalies, but can't he like not be good for like just 5 minutes, please?
Yeah, we were actually watching the game together. Virtually. We were just sat on the same Teams call that we used to record the episode while we while we watched while we watched the game. And I also then had like the triple screen setup going on, because then I also had the Pens and Red Wings game, which was much more exciting, I feel like, than Leafs in New Jersey, even though both those games, were high scoring. Obviously also as well, 2 goals for John Tavares and Austin Matthews each, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Pretty nice. And then David Kampf as well scored a goal. And I will say, like, a lot of that game, there was some good opportunities from the fourth line in terms of depth. It was a new look fourth line as well that I don't think we've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong. Kampf and Dewar could be an option for the playoffs, maybe, if you want more offense out there. Will you still keep the perks of having a more defensive forward in Dewar and Kampf? But who knows? There's so many options that Sheldon Keefe can roll out with line combinations, and I think we saw that more of those options against Detroit, in terms of what he can do.
Yeah.
Because there was like, so I don't want to say so much, but like, he has so many options. If everyone is healthy, like, think about all the options he has now, and that's without Calle Yarncroke in the lineup. And he opens so many more options. And it's I think it's such a good thing that this team like is so chock full of depth in the forward group, that that we're trying to, like, we can't decide who to sit.
Which you can, it's like, I know with like some teams, it's like the lines are very much like set in stone, never change. It's always the exact same thing, even if it doesn't work, because it's like that's just how they work. But then it's like, it's so good about like the fact that we don't have that so much. It's, oh yeah, you guys could play together today. Surprise, have fun, see how it goes. And I like
usually
that.
it goes pretty well. Like,
toes.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think we saw that more like with the Detroit game, which I guess we can just like flow right into, because not to say that there wasn't any, like, yes, would have been nice for the Leafs to get the 2 points over New Jersey. Yes, but also was New Jersey's season basically like it's basically confirmed that they are not making it into the playoffs. Like it was when they played that game. So it doesn't like wasn't really consequential.
It's not the end of the world
at the end of the day. But yeah, Leafs in Detroit. So Sam Snuff got the start. I don't really care, like, to be honest, to Sheldon Keefe, I don't really care what your plan was going into this week. I don't care. Really. He was like, oh, this is always the plan that we had, to have Samsonov start, what, 3 games this week? I don't think he should have started this game
No.
against Detroit. I think it should have gone to Wool, and that's not even me being like, oh, Joseph Wool should start this. This is me purely stating a fact based on Samsonov's performance the night before.
Yeah, like I think I'd said on Twitter, like, there's no point in, like, I don't really, not overworking him, because he's not been worked to the bone recently. But there's no point in playing him in games that don't matter, because you'd much rather, like, yes, I know it's good for him to, it'd have been nice for him to have, like, a game where he could redeem himself before the playoffs. But, like, just rest him and make sure he's, like, fully healthy for game 1, and, like, give Wall some more starts, because
It's not like your other options are unplayable. Like, that's the
yeah,
thing. Like, even if you were going down to Martin Jones, which I think he should do, like, which I think he should be the one to get the last game of the season, like, to get the game against Tampa on Wednesday. I think that should go to that should go to Jones, because if your game 82, your playoff starts Saturday. If you are, like, if you play Samsonov, which is like Sheldon Keefe was like, he could go a Wednesday. If he gets hurt, you're screwed.
Yeah, it's, oh no, I don't even want to think about it.
Whereas, like, you're screwed. Like, not so much in the fact that, like, you run out of goalies, because the Leafs have no problem with acquiring goalies, and we'll talk about Matt Murray in a little bit.
Yes.
When we do, we'll talk about the Marlies. I have a whole thing where we'll talk about Matt Murray as well. But he could become an option for the Leafs, like your 4th option for the Leafs in the playoffs. And then also as well, like, the Leafs have no shortage of goalies. It's actually sort of ridiculous when you look
Yeah,
at all the goalies in their system.
literally, it's like
There's
so
like
many.
8 of them.
They're just like a little gaggle of goalies. But it's like I don't Sheldon Keefe, this man.
But, like, I don't know why. Like, but I still, I don't care what your plan was. I don't care. Like, you're not to be like, you're not splitting up the starts evenly like you said you would. I don't care about that at all. Like, I'm not being like, caught you in a lie, Sheldon. I'm not here to do that.
Because it's like, surprise, surprise, who'd have thought? Plans change, situations change.
But I
Oh,
still think that, like, Safe Snuff should have not played that,
no.
like, the Detroit game. And it's like, it's not like he had a bad full 60 minutes. He had a bad first period, and then he was pretty solid after that, considering how badly the Leafs blue line played in front of him. But I still think it was like it's almost like, yeah, you're giving him over a week off essentially, like, but I don't know.
Like, I'd much rather he has more time off and ends the season on a bad game than he give him the chance to have a redemption game for, like, just for himself. But then, because it's like, yes, he had the chance to, like, have a really good game to, like, get him back into it. But it wasn't brilliant. And I think if that was me, I wouldn't want that, because I'd then go into the playoffs being like, oh, I've not been playing, like, I've had a rough few games. And it's like, I don't know, it's just not, it wouldn't put me in the right mindset to start game 1 feeling confident about it.
Yeah. But again, we don't know. There's probably people who are gonna be like, well, there was conversations about this and this. I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, so like I said, allowed 4 goals in the first period by Sam Snuff. I also say like the defense wasn't there.
No.
Was not there. Specifically TJ Brody. Buddy. Like I want to try and defend TJ Brody, but I can't. And I know a lot of people are like, well, having, TJ Brody at his worst is still better than something the Leafs like can throw out now with players at their best. I'm like, I don't think so. I think the Leafs defense is better than that. Right? Like what we saw against Detroit, like we know the Leafs defense can be better than that. It'll be interesting to see the blue line. Like what really intrigued me today was seeing the D pairs at practice that Sheldon Keefe put out. Those I was excited by those. It was Labushkin, Riley, McCabe, Benoit, Edmondson Liljegren, if I remember correctly. I'm just gonna remind myself. Yes, it was. I'm so good at this game.
Look at you go.
But yeah, like those, I'm much more excited by those, and maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll see those on Tuesday, and those could be like a preview of what we could get game 1. Who knows? But yeah, what I've got for the actual hockey game that was played against Detroit, Austin Matthews scores number 69. Nice. Nicholas Robertson also proving his worth in the fact that he can be an absolutely ridiculous goalie, a goal scorer. For this team. I'm like, I just think like him having an off season where he will get to work more on his defensive play. He could become a really solid all-around NHLer. I don't know. I'm just really excited. The Leafs, I'm so excited to see what they do next year. Like, I know this season hasn't even ended yet. Like, we haven't even gotten to the playoffs yet, but I'm already looking forward to like the possibilities next season.
Yeah. Like, it's good. I just can't wait.
Very excited. Jake McCabe also as well takes a puck off of the face. Close to the eye, which was scary. He's fine. Stitched up. He did media availability today for the team. Sporting a new black eye and some stitches under his eye as well. But all right. Poor guy is taking an absolute beating to the face this season.
Yeah. I feel like it's every single time we see him, he's just battered and bruised in a new way.
Yeah. Oh,
just give the poor guy a break.
Poor guy. It's first, like, he missed a game and he comes back to
this.
A puck off the face. Speaking of, I think the whole team took a little bit, there was a little bit of the team getting battered. McMahon left the game early due to a lower body injury. Unsure of his timeline, according to Sheldon Keefe. Liljegren probably was feeling sore the next day as well as he was pushed into the boards. I think it was Valino. Should have been a major. That was like textbook 5-minute boarding, and it was not. And I think that could have totally changed the game because Leafs scored on the power play, yes, but then within like the 5 minutes, so it would have still been part of the 5-minute major, Detroit scored to tie the game. And I think like if you gave the Leafs power play, like, and how good they looked in those 2 minutes, they didn't get, like, the Leafs didn't get a lot of power play opportunities this game, but if you gave them 5 minutes, I think they could have at least racked up
it could
a couple goals.
It'd have been a big change.
It would have totally changed the game, and I think we could have probably not to be like, oh, this is why they lost because of the refs, but I guess that is kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah. We're not saying it's all the refs' fault, but we're saying
but that was a textbook 5-minute
Yeah.
5-minute boarding, and like even then like the NHL is giving the refs it out because if they called it as 5 minutes, they could have reviewed it and then reduced it to 2, but because you immediately called it as 2, you couldn't change it.
Yeah.
Which like is like take advantage of the fact that the league is helping you. Right? With those sort of things. They're giving you an option. Because it fully was like a push. It wasn't like a shoulder check or a cross check. Like not even a cross. It was a full two-handed push. Like outward extension of the elbows.
Yeah, which is very much something that you cannot do.
You cannot do. You can't go like that. Like you're. And like I'm just glad Liljegren was fine. Like, yeah, he had to go to the dark room, like the quiet room for a bit, probably just for concussion protocol, but he did return to the game, which is good sign. But also Austin Matthews hit his head off the boards after colliding with Nylander. That was wacky. And that had me
I've ever felt so much stress and just my heart stopped. I was sat there and I was like, this close to the playoffs. Why? Why?
No, I literally was like, oh my God, no, please God, no, not today. No, this isn't how we're gonna, like, I got really nervous about that one. But yeah, so into looking towards the future, Leafs play their final 2 games of the regular season this week. We're nearing the end. And then the stress sweat breaks through because then we have the playoffs and stress acne becomes a really real thing.
Yeah, it's not as if I've been going through it recently with all the stress from my coursework and assessments at uni. It's not like my chin's already going through it.
I was looking through pictures of like playoffs time like last year, and the stress acne on my forehead was absolutely unreal. I was like, this is so bad. And I'm so not ready to go through it again. But yeah, so playoffs, there is still it's still unknown of who the Leafs can play this who the Leafs can play in the playoffs in the first round. It is either Boston or Florida, but if Boston loses today against if Boston loses tonight against Washington, then and Tampa wins against the Leafs tomorrow, or at least like loses in not loses, but loses in overtime, they could either tie it up for points or surpass them. And I don't have too many high hopes of the Bruins losing to the Sens, but you never know. There is like, oh, actually, sorry, no. The Leafs, so the Panthers would have to beat the Leafs to surpass the Bruins tonight. I'm trying to so the scenario for the Leafs playing Boston in the playoffs is because there's 1 point difference between Boston and Florida, but Florida has already played 81, so like their game tomorrow against the Leafs is their last game of the season, which not loving that they don't have to play a back-to-back, and also that they have an extra day of rest over whoever they play, they have an extra day of rest against the Leafs. Like, not loving that. No. But we'll ignore it. So the situation for Boston to fall into the second spot in the Atlantic is Boston has to lose both of their games. They have to lose tonight against the Capitals in regulation.
Mm.
They also have to lose. They also have to lose in regulation against the Senators, or they can lose in overtime. But the Panthers then would have to beat the Leafs in regulation tomorrow, and then it would be the tie. Then it would be a tiebreaker, and it would go to whoever has more regulation wins, which is the Panthers. Does that make sense?
It makes as much sense as it's physically able to for me.
Boston just has to lose, and Florida has to win.
Yeah, there we go.
And it could either end in a tiebreak in which it would go to Florida because they have more regulation wins, I believe. I don't know what their regulation. Hold on. Actually, would it go to Florida? And then, or they would just, hold on. Look at that. But yeah, so it was really interesting. The Leafs today were asked about the 48 times for 58 wins. Yeah, but like regulation wins. Give me regulation wins. Sorry, I should have looked this up beforehand. I did not. Anyways, doesn't matter. Whatever. Anyways, the Leafs are just asked about like their packing for the playoffs because they won't be returning home between Tampa, the game against Tampa on the 17th on Wednesday, and game 1 of the playoffs on the 20th. They'll either be staying in Florida or going up to Boston, depending on who they're playing. So
yeah. Oh, joy. Here's excited.
Me, yeah, like we said, so Joseph Woll's due to start against Florida on Tuesday. And then it is unknown who starts on Wednesday, either Jones or Samsonov. That's still a discussion that has to be had. I think Jones would be the smarter option. You give Samsonov that rest. You also give him the opportunity to not get hurt.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like you don't need this win. You can very well. The game doesn't matter.
No, literally, Tampa and the Leafs does not matter. It does not affect anybody's placement in the standings. It doesn't affect the Leafs. It doesn't affect Tampa. It doesn't affect like a tie-break scenario further down the line in the playoffs for either team. They are locked into where they are in the standings already. It does not matter.
No.
At all.
Give Jones the game and just make sure that Samsonov doesn't injure himself.
Truly. Put him in bubble wrap and just have him
3 blankets.
Honestly, you could probably leave him in Florida. Based on like if Boston wins tonight against Washington, you could leave Samsonov in Florida.
Give him a nice little holiday.
Have them all nice set up in the hotel. You could leave them not in Florida, well, like Florida, like you could leave them in Miami. Sorry, I should say. Not Florida in general because they are staying in Florida, but you could leave him in Miami.
Yeah, just treat him. Be like, oh, room service is on us. Whatever you want, Sammy.
Whatever you want.
Anything for you.
But yeah, there's some injury updates. So that came out today. McMahon status unknown for game 1. I can have the direct Sheldon Keefe quote though, because those are always fun to read.
Oh yeah.
Via David Alter. Sheldon Keefe says Bobby McMahon will miss the final 2 games of the regular season. Yeah, unsure of his status for game 1. Max Domi, also unknown status, likely to miss. Well, he will miss tomorrow's game and is likely to miss Wednesday's game as well for an unknown injury that apparently is a lingering issue.
Yeah, I love when that happens.
Apparently he's been dealing with something that's been going on for a while.
Yay.
Yeah, and then also update on Cal Yarncrow because he did participate in some of today's practice. He is in a day-to-day situation. Unfortunately, this is directly from Sheldon Keefe via David Alter. He is more in a day-to-day situation. Unfortunately, we're running out of schedule here, but we'll just have to see where he is. He's going to be traveling with us.
I mean, it could be worse.
Could be worse, but also not great. Are you just rotating through Minecraft backgrounds?
Yeah, well, this one, we were talking about injuries, so the dark one felt more like fitting.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Ooh. Well, now we were going to talk about signings, but yeah, okay, you can keep your Minecraft background. If only you guys could see the video of this. It's just Marcie, like that one picture of John Tavares with like his head half in the frame. But instead of a plain beige wall behind her, it's like a Minecraft wallpaper. It's like a virtual background.
I'm having to. Well, I'm annoyed because I don't think I can actually put my own pictures in.
Oh, so you just wanted to put like pictures of like Joseph Wool instead?
Yeah.
Or were you gonna theme it? You were gonna theme it to your display name?
Yeah.
So it was gonna be a picture of Justin Hall?
Yeah, the Speedo one.
No. I'm haunted by that one. It's that's his Instagram profile picture.
Oh, yeah, well aware.
Justin.
Oh, Justin.
Yeah, he didn't even play in the Detroit game. Zach Aston Reese did though, so we did get to see Zach Aston Reese.
We did. Hey, Zach. Hey, Zachary.
Our favorite graphic designer, Zach Aston Reese.
Maybe he could design me a Teams background. I'll hit him up. I'll be like, hey.
Oh
You got a spare 5 minutes?
Well, we still have some more Leafs news to get through. So it was Leafs yesterday announced that they had signed defenseman Nicholas Matanen to a 1-year contract that will start in the 24-25 season. The 26-year-old 6'5", 215-pound defenseman was named the Player of the Year in the DEL, which is the German league, German Pro League, with a league leading points total for defensemen of 46 points. He was originally, if you're one of those like sickos who remember every Leafs draft pick to ever be made, and his name seems familiar to you. Well, he was drafted 176 overall, which goes in the 6th round in the 2016 draft by Toronto, further adding to the list of players drafted by Toronto in that will end up making their further, like, there's going to be a club now, I feel like, of just 2016 Leafs draft picks.
Yeah.
Members being Austin Matthews, Joseph Wool, and now Nicholas Matanen. It's a 2-way contract as well, also, so has some flexibility there. He also played with Mitch Marner in the 2015-2016 OHL season on the London Knights, who went on to win the Mem Cup that year. Also, and this is why his name seemed familiar with me, because I saw his name, I was like, I recognize that name. And I was like, and then I saw, 6th round pick from 2016. I was like, I'm not that person to remember 6th round picks from 2016. Yeah, no, I'm like, I'm not that crazy.
You're not that bad.
I'm not that bad, yeah. And then I looked up his elite prospects page and I saw that he played 3 seasons for the University of Ottawa, which is where I go to school. And I was like, there it is, because he was playing for the University of Ottawa when I was in 1st year. So I was like, that's how I recognized that name. He did play pretty great, if I do remember from when he was here. Didn't go to a lot of GG's games in first year, but I did go to at least one or two. And I do remember he was quite the player. So congratulations to you, Nicholas. Hopefully, you make your NHL debut and bring some pride. I don't know. I just was like, cool. A guy that
yeah,
went through the same horror experiences as me regarding I don't know, having to walk through campus in the middle of winter. But he is from Ottawa, Ottawa native as well. So
okay.
Yeah. We'll have probably quite the contingency if he does play for the Leafs at their game in Ottawa this season. Next season, I should say, not this season. But Marlies. So they clinched the playoffs this weekend with a shootout win over the Syracuse Crunch.
Oh,
With Matt Murray was in net with the win as he's with the team for a conditioning stint as he returns from hip surgery. He could be prepped and ready to go to be named to the Leafs roster for the playoffs, which I think if we roll with a 4-goalie roster, we never have to go through the horrors ever again of having emergency backups. I remember this time last year where I made a joke about Joseph Wool getting kidnapped by Carlton the Bear so they could fly him down to Florida to play in one of the last couple games of the season because both Ilya Samsonov and Matt Murray were injured and we didn't have a goalie.
Oh, it's crazy.
And the Leafs were so cash-strapped that we couldn't call one up, so it was like emergency, and I was like, they're kidnapping Joseph Wool and putting him on a plane.
Oh dear.
But yeah, so
it's crazy.
It's great for the Marlies. I think it's so great that they have clinched the playoffs to make another run at the Calder Cup. We'll see how they do this year. They lost in the second or third round last year to it was to not Utica, upstate New York, Rochester.
Yeah.
Was it to Rochester?
I'm think so.
I think it was Rochester. It was because it was Americans, right? I'm really trying to think here, and it's not. I can't think.
Yeah, I think it was. I don't know. I know. Who was it? It's been a year. It's been a lot.
It's been a year. I don't. Are you saying who was it? What? Oh, it was the third round, but they did lose to Rochester.
Yeah.
It was the third round. It was third. They made it to the third round. Lost to Rochester in 3 games.
Oh. Yeah.
They got swept.
Yeah, it was rough.
It was rough because it was like game 3 and Joseph Wool was because then the Leafs had been eliminated from the playoffs and they put Joseph Wool and he allowed 8 goals.
I remember that all too. I remember his post game.
Oh God.
I wish I didn't.
He just had come off a loss against Florida with him in net and then
and then they go, I know what's going to be really good for you, Josie. In you get. And then that happened.
Allowed 8. They lost. Yeah. I remember that post game too. But yeah, also as well, the Marlies signed defenseman Chaz Sharp to a 2-year AHL contract for the 24-25 season. He will join the Marlies on a PTO, which further adds another level of depth to their blue line. There's so many defensemen with the Marlies right now. But he is a I just put the little heart up. He is 6'2", 196 pounds. At age 20, he's captain of the Mississauga Steelheads. Overall, good pickup. I heard from someone saying that it was a very good grab by the Marlies to put another cog in the, or I don't know, in the Leafs development pipeline. That doesn't even make sense. But add something else to the Leafs. There's there's more to the pipeline, I should say. The pipeline is growing, expanding. I don't know. Like, there's more.
We know what you mean.
There. Thank you. Glad you do. But yeah, I think he's from Oakville. So I don't know. Marlies are fun to watch.
I love the Marlies.
But yeah, that's all my Leaf stuff. I don't know if you had anything to add.
I don't think so. Oh yeah, I will say, with Matt Murray back again, I'm not gonna lie, I will quite happily hold my hands up and admit I was wrong, because I thought we'd seen the last of him. I did not think that we'd be seeing him again. Like, especially like not like recently, but at the start of the season when it was like
they wheeled him out on crutches at the home opener.
Yeah, no, literally.
And they were like, here's Matt Murray, and he looks so thin. He already is very gaunt looking in his face, but he looked so thin, and he was sitting there wobbling on crutches, and I was like, oh my god.
Literally, because it's like I remember what I said to you. I was like, that's the face, that's the look of someone who's not coming back from this.
Yeah.
But I was wrong, and I'm quite happy I was wrong, because we love Matt Murray.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like something you messaged me, or if it was.
I don't know. I can't remember if I messaged you or not, but I know I definitely said it to you because we had a conversation about it. But no, he's back, and it's such a better situation to be in than this time last year.
It was the I'm trying to see if it was a message you sent to me, and I've come across the live stream for their first press conference after the training camp roster was announced.
Oh my god.
And it was like something where it was like, I'm just going through it and I'm like, Mitch Marner, it was like they asked Mitch Marner about Babcock, and then it was like, Matt Murray needs significant surgery. That's what we found out. I was like, oh shit, Bobby McMahon is also still hurt. And it's like reading like Cal's responses too. Ty Boyd and Braden Kressler were injured in Traverse City, and obviously Jake Muzzin is also out. And that was your Toronto Maple Leafs injury update.
Oh god, what a time!
Oh my god. The fact that Bobby McMahon started the season and is going to end the season injured.
I don't like this. I really don't. I just why Bobby, why? There's so much potential.
Anyways, Matt Murray.
Matt Murray is back.
Yeah, piano playing Matt Murray.
I need well,
they've got
social media team are listening. You know what you need to do.
Bring back the suit pics. I don't know what we did to lose those.
Yeah, like what did we go wrong? Who did we piss off?
That they were like, no more suit pics. Yeah, so bring back suit pics. Give us a piano duet.
Yeah.
I've forgotten. No, it was so bad. My brain has been like so offline. I fully forgot. We have like a number, like punch code, like a number lock, to get into our apartment.
Yeah.
And so we have like a code, like a 4-digit code, whatever, that you punch in. I came home on Wednesday, because I'd gone out for dinner with Simon and we'd come back. And I stood there, punched in the wrong number once, and then my brain blanked and I forgot what the code is to get into our apartment. And I stood there and I was like, oh my God. And so I had to, like, I leaned up to the door and I could hear my roommate was inside. So I like was like knocking on the door, going like, let me in. I forgot the code. And Simon's standing beside me, absolutely laughing his ass off, being like, you idiot. But I never realized like how many like those combination things that I do are like, it's becomes like muscle memory. So you forget the numbers, but you remember like the sequence. And my brain totally blanked and was like, nothing. So that's where I am. I've forgotten how to say the word duet. A piano duet between Joseph Bull and Matt Murray. I don't know. You guys have got whatever. You're in wherever. Like, you know, you got 2 free days wherever your game, like you're playing in the playoffs. I don't know, probably Florida. Find it there. I'm sure there's a piano in the lobby of a hotel somewhere.
Well, I'm sure there's a piano somewhere.
Yeah. Couple of milestones to celebrate coming out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby reaches 1,000 NHL assists.
Oh, Sid!
Which I think, like, well, at some point, you know, people will do retroactives on NHLers' careers and things like that. But, like, is it crazy of me to go Sidney Crosby top 5 player of all time?
I think.
Have you just noticed that it's like disappearing? Okay, Marcie's distracted herself with a crab squishmallow by putting it on top of her head, because then when she let goes of it, it gets hidden by the virtual background. But my question,
I can't win, can I?
No, you can't, because it realizes it's not a person.
Yes.
Anyways, my question is Sidney Crosby, when all is said and done at the end of his career, is he a top 5 NHLer of all time?
Yes.
Because I think a lot of people will look at his number stats and be like, okay, well, yeah, he's like, you know, within the top 10 of this, within the top 10 of this, but is it really like top 5? But you have to also look at his like team, like his, not his individual accomplishments, because also, yes, he has a plethora of NHL awards and individual accomplishments, but also as well, like what he's been able to accomplish, like throughout his career, 2 Olympic gold medals, won the world championships multiple times, 3 times Stanley Cup winner, my apologies. I'm trying to, like, there's not a lot of players in the triple gold club either, which is hockey players and coaches who have won a world championship, a Olympic gold medal, and a Stanley Cup throughout their career. Some of the names on this list are pretty impressive. Peter Forsberg, Rob Blake, Joe Sakic, Brendan Shanahan, Scott Niedermayer, Jaromir Jagr, Nicholas Lidstrom, Chris Pronger, Eric Stahl, Jonathan Toews, Patrice Bergeron, who only a matter of time before he goes into the Hall of Fame. You just have to let him be retired for long enough. Sidney Crosby, Corey Perry, Pavel Datsyuk. Yeah, like Igor Larionov, Alexander McGinley, who I think if not for his like this is a thing where I'm like, this is like another whole debate of whether Alexander McGinley should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame, because yes, he is Russian, and all of his international accomplishments have been for country of Russia. And yes, with the current political climate, people are very apprehensive of including Russian athletes and things. But Alexander McGinley, like, he is so notably known for off ice. Well, like, for what he's known for, besides his being a very fantastic player, is being the first NHL draftee to defect from the Soviet Union to play in North America. I don't think he maintains a lot of very strong Russian ties anymore.
No.
Right? Which
Yeah,
is why I think that the Hall of Fame and their board of directors and whoever makes the decisions for who should get nominated to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame should really like look at it. You can be like, you can look at the flag, like the flag of the country's flag that's beside his name when you look at him on like Wikipedia or whatever. But I think you also have to look at like what he's known for in his career and like what he did in order to play hockey, which was defect from the Soviet Union. Right? Like that's what he's known for. That's his right, like his legacy.
Yeah, it's very much just like less of a it's just to use your brain sort of thing, and just you just have to like look at like everything that he's done and feel like, yeah, you know what? He does deserve to be there.
Absolutely he does. And it's like, okay, like yes, I know why, but like at the same point, there is going to have to be a point at when you go, okay, so we aren't, and this is not me at all like in support of like what Russia is doing as a country politically.
No.
Absolutely not. Like, very much not. But also you have to be like, okay, so like how long are you gonna continue with this? Like of like not allowing Russian players to be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame, because some people can still make an argument to be as to why Alexander McGinley, like they can be like, well, he doesn't have these stats or he doesn't have these stats, or like whatever you can say about him, right? Where you can try and argue your way towards it. But we aren't, and I hate to say it, we aren't that far away from Ovechkin retiring in terms of the fact it's going to happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
It's just the truth of it all. Are you going to really keep Alexander Ovechkin out of the Hockey Hall of Fame when he becomes eligible?
Because I don't think that would go down too well. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, absolutely it wouldn't go down too well.
About that.
I don't think so either. Also, because like he has stronger ties to Russia than McGinley does.
Yeah. And then it's like you can't say no to one person and yes to another.
Yeah, like Ovechkin still has very strong ties to Russia, but like I can't imagine like
yeah, it wouldn't go down too well at all.
I can't imagine probably the best goal scorer in the history of the NHL. It's likely he's going to pass Gretzky's record.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Oh my god, that would be.
Could you imagine having like trying like if you're the like trying to be the Hockey Hall of Fame and you can't explicitly say like, I don't know if they have ever explicitly said, oh, he's being kept out because of ties to Russia. Like, I don't know if they've ever like explicitly said that, but like you're faced with like Alexander Ovechkin and you can't say, oh, it's because of its ties to Russia. So you have to try and like worm your way around it. And it's Alexander Ovechkin.
How do you go about that? Just being like, oh, by the way, like, we know you've done all this, but like, what excuse would you have to come up with?
Oh my god, that would be like, we know like he has broken a Wayne Gretzky record, which like those are ridiculously hard to break. We know that he is won a plethora of individual accolades at the within the NHL.
Yeah.
We know he has won the Stanley Cup, so he doesn't even have the but he's never won a cup argument. He's won a Stanley Cup. He finally did that. Which like was always the thing. It's like, but he never won a cup. He's won a cup. He's had some success at the international level, not as much as Sidney Crosby has, but Sidney Crosby has the perks of playing for Team Canada. Yeah.
Always helps.
Yeah, always does. But like, and you're like, no.
It's like, oh yeah, no, not allowed. Sorry.
It'd be crazy. But yeah, so Sidney Crosby, 1,000 NHL assists, and also as well, last week Erik Karlsson played in his 1,000th NHL game. Way to go, Erik Karlsson! Major milestone. Was a huge part of the Ottawa Senators organization for a very long time, and then was a huge part of the San Jose Sharks, and now has recently become a part of the Pittsburgh Penguins organization. He attributed a lot of his early career success to Ottawa Senators legends Daniel Alfredsson and Jason Spezza, which is cool. Yeah. And then I just have some like miscellaneous points to go through. One of them being that Mark Stone was at Vegas Golden Knight practice in a non-contact jersey last week. I'm sure we'll probably see him game 1.
What a miraculously timed recovery.
I'm not saying that they've made up a ruptured spleen, because that's like not good.
No.
But like, at what point are you like, this is kind of like crazy? It's like 3 years in a row.
Yeah, at what point does it become more than just an unfortunate coincidence?
Yeah. Also as
it's
well,
not even like, at what point does it become like more than an unfortunate coincidence? At what point do people start admitting that it's very, I don't want to say very clearly, but it's interesting.
It always seems to solve a lot of the Vegas Golden Knights issues when it comes to the amount of cap space they have going into the deadline that allows them to make some pretty major acquisitions that seem to help their playoff success. But yeah, also as well, a fan was arrested on Flyers practice today.
I nap for an hour. I nap for 60 minutes. And what happens?
I don't even know what for. I mean, also as well, like, what would you do? Like, only in Philadelphia.
Yeah, only in Philadelphia.
Only in Philadelphia would there be a fan getting arrested at a Flyers practice. Probably also like their last like home practice of the season, right? Too. Yeah. So it's like, what is going on? It was very funny because at first the original tweet was just like, someone's getting arrested at Philadelphia Flyers practice, and did say that it did specify that it was a fan, and a lot of people were like, is it a player?
Yeah, it's like, you can't just drop, oh yeah, it's
John Tortorella?
Gritty?
They finally got him for hitting that kid.
Okay, Gritty arrested for like 8 counts of vehicular manslaughter.
Not surprised. No, they finally got him they're finally getting him for hitting that kid like 5 years ago. That happened like his first season. Oh my god, I remember. Do you remember that?
What a time, man.
Oh my god, I remember that. He was on the news. He was on late night talk shows. And it was funny because like it was like the year after Vegas came into the league and they had their mascot too, like they had Chance. And so it was like, but everyone was talking more about Philadelphia and Gritty. Imagine like you're on that design team for the mascot and you think you've done such a good job and you're like, oh, the name Chance, because we're in Vegas and like, there's always a chance and it's like a lizard type thing. I don't even know really what it's a lizard. There's a lot of lizard. We're in the desert. It's Vegas. It's great design. Matches with our color scheme. And then this orange thing walks out of Philadelphia and is like my show now and has become a cultural phenomenon. Like there's people outside of like who don't follow hockey. I know people who don't follow hockey at all and still know who Gritty is.
I have a group of friends who I like met on Twitter years ago, and like we still have our group chat now. And every so often, one of them just sends like a post about Gritty, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, Marcie, this is a you thing, isn't it?" And it's like we were sending all the TikToks back and forth because they were just like, "Oh, I love Gritty," and I'm like, I don't like. It's just the fact that he's like evolved and like
he's transcended the hockey world.
He's broken.
He's become bigger. He's become bigger than hockey. And if truly is a great mascot to come out of the great state of Pennsylvania is what it takes to grow the game of hockey. Gary Bettman, you're doing your job wrong.
He squeaks.
What more
could you want?
He squeaks. Like that's the thing. It's like he like has these like really like cute, adorably like qualities to him. He squeaks. He's fluffy. He's seems very cuddly, and then he's just like slightly unnerving. Where you're like, there could be like I don't know a serial killer inside that suit.
Yeah, and it's like it'd be very believable. And like you could tell me that Gritty has like committed multiple counts of murder, and I'd just like, yeah, that makes sense. I will not ask any more questions.
They do a thing where it's like a social thing for on the Flyers social media pages where it's like Gritty finding a new best friend.
Yeah,
like that's a series they have going on, and I'm still like, Gritty could commit arson. He probably already has. You know what? Gritty was the one who stole the Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads.
And you know what? That is very like I believe that. I believe it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Also as well, we have some news. Big day. Actually, it's been kind of a big week for signings because of the fact that the NCAA championship has been decided. Congratulations to Denver University. So there's been a flurry of those. A couple big names. Cutter Gauthier, notably of Jamie Drysdale trade fame, has signed his 3-year entry-level contract with the Anaheim Ducks. So I think I believe the news is that he will join the team right away. Yeah, NHL career with the Ducks immediately. Not gonna lie, slightly confused about it because the Ducks have 2 games left to their season and they are not making the playoffs, and so I'm unsure as to why you would burn a year of
it's
his contract of his contract.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound mean when I say this, but it's very on brand for the Ducks to do something like that.
Yeah, like that's a very Pat Verbeek move, where it's like, yeah, we have 2 games left, but sure, we'll burn a year off of contract. At least like when Matthew Nyes joined the Leafs after losing in the Frozen Four, it made sense because the Leafs were going into the playoffs, right? And so their season, like he did play 7 games.
Yeah.
More than that, not. Well, he played 2 regular season games, and then he played 1 through 5. 1 through 6, and then got concussed by Sam Bennett.
I still choose to ignore the fact that that happened because that was a rough time for us.
Yeah. I still think about the fact that like I had friends who went to game 4 in Florida and saw him because they were right by the press box and asked him like, "Oh, when do you think you're gonna come back?" And he said soon, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure." I was like, "Yeah, okay, soon." Right? And then to find out like later, like to find out like after the like not even, it was not even like halfway through the off season. It was like early this season. Like we were in training camp or whatever, to find out that he would have been ready to go in game 6 if there was one. I still think about that
all the time.
I still think about that all the time. Like if the Leafs, because it was overtime, like if the Leafs had won game 5, we could have gotten Nyes back for game 6 because he was ready to go.
Yeah.
And then who knows where we'd have been.
Yeah, who knows? He could have scored like 10 goals in game 6.
Can't say otherwise, but yeah, so I do think though, I do like remember seeing that Cutter Gauthier said like post game after losing to Denver, because BC lost to Denver in the final and for the national title, him saying, "Oh, I haven't heard anything from Anaheim. I don't know where they are in signing me. I haven't heard anything, haven't had a conversation with them." And then like 2 days later, this news drops that he's signed his entry-level contract. This is where I sit and I have to go, this kid has to just learn how to not say anything.
Yeah. He needs to go to like the Sheldon Keefe school of saying a whole lot of nothing.
Well, oh yeah, Kyle Dewis.
Yeah. It's like
and like he just has to learn, like someone has to give him a like just a slight bit of like media training. Like, hey, kid, don't say this.
Yeah. Like,
because
keep the, like, we want the personality, but just not the...
Yeah, we want the personality, but like maybe like don't say this.
Yeah, maybe, just maybe.
Just because you're causing yourself problems. But then also news as well, Columbus Blue Jackets have signed Gavin Brindley to a 3-year entry-level contract. He is due to start and join the team automatically, so he will get he will play 1 game this season. And then also as well, Dylan Duke signed his entry-level contract with the Tampa Bay Lightning, who I forgot he was a prospect of. I literally had to look up who drafted him.
You were like,
yeah, because unlike my sister, I do not obsessively follow Michigan hockey.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah. Also as well, some news today out of a Canucks practice. There was reportedly some cameras from Amazon following Quinn Hughes. I know we talked a little bit about that Amazon series, and we gave a list of guys we would have liked to see in it. I don't think either of us named Quinn Hughes. We did say Brock Besser instead from Vancouver.
Yeah, I do kind of still wish we got Brock Besser.
And this is like no diss against Quinn Hughes. There's just more exciting people on his team. And like maybe this series will like prove us wrong and show that he actually is like a very funny person and, you know, is someone who's actually interesting to like watch. But like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, But if they're following him now, that almost like leads me to believe, like, are they all following guys like starting now? Does that mean that there's been cameras following like other players, or is it
Yeah.
like that's the thing where I'm like, oh, I'm like interested in what this means. It starts a little bit of rumblings of like, okay, so then does this like, is this following guys in the playoffs then, or is it like something that started earlier in the season, we just didn't know about it? Like,
Yeah,
who
like
knows?
who, what, when, where, why.
Yeah. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see. We don't know really any other players. I do know that like I did remember seeing Austin Matthews and William Nylander were both guys who I think were approached by Amazon about possibly appearing, and they both said that they were interested in doing it. So
Hmm.
who knows what we
Who
will
knows?
see.
Who knows? But yeah, I'm quite excited to see who ends up on it. I think I'll just be quite. I'm just excited for it because I'm nosy and yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm just excited. I know that's the thing where it's like I think my favorite thing that the Minnesota Wild do is they have their Becoming Wild series where it's they follow not follow necessarily, but like they spend sort of a day with a guy on the roster, or even within the organization. I know they've done one following the Iowa Wild, which is their AHL affiliate. And I think like that's so cool. It gives you such a deep insight into like who the player is as a person, like off the ice. And it's really cool. It's really interesting. You learn some guys are like, they're big into thrifting, which is so cool. Like there's a guy on the Iowa Wild this season who's like who like is a big guy into like thrifting clothes and fashion, that sort of thing. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, it's just like, oh.
Also is what like, truly like it makes you like the guys feel more like not like people, but like relatable,
Yeah,
for
like you get
sure.
to see more than just like
Them on the
post-game
ice post game and like the odd
Instagram
social
posts.
the odd like social like media day thing that they do, or like
Yeah.
maybe they get followed for like they get a spotlight in a blueprint episode, but it's like not the same, I think, because like those are very sanitized,
Yeah, like
right?
it's
Very
very much like
corporate, because it's like a recap of their season, so it's also like working in that aspect, whereas like Becoming Wild is like purely, it's done usually like a lot of times like in the off season, usually done in the off season. If you look really, and it's fun because you like sometimes it'll be following guys in the off season, you'll see who they train with. So like if you look really closely at Mason Shaw's Becoming Wild, there's a scene of him doing some on ice work, and if you squint in the background, you can see Bobby McMahon. I kid you not, because they both are from Wainwright, Alberta. So yeah, but like that was one of the things where I was like, wait a minute, is that a Marley's gear? Bobby. But yeah, it's really cool. And it was like one of those things that I recommended a lot of people when the Leafs traded for Connor Dewar to go watch his Becoming Wild, because it was such like a great video that they had done that really like shows who he is as a person. And I think the Leafs, I want the Leafs to do that.
Yeah, why can we not get them?
And this is not just me saying that because like I want more Joseph Woolcrums.
But like it's an added bonus.
For sure.
Oh dear.
But yeah. I don't know, I guess we can end it here.
I don't think I've got anything else to add.
I don't know if I have anything else to add either,
It's kind of a
besides,
quiet few days.
which is surprising. I mean, there has been a little bit of back and forth with like the Metro. Like it looked for a while that the Penguins kind of had their spot, but then they lost, and then now Washington is in their spot. But like Washington, there's like a 3-way tie between Washington, Detroit, and Philadelphia, but Pittsburgh is a point back, and Pittsburgh tonight plays the Predators, who aren't as hot as they were when they were the anti-U2 Predators. They've fallen off of that hot streak that they got from not seeing U2 at the Sphere in Vegas. So it's like Penguins have that game left, and then a game against the Islanders. So I think, if they win their next 2 games, who knows? It's anyone's game. And that's what's like exciting.
Yeah.
And then over in the West, it's pretty set in stone, I believe. Yeah, it is. That's the thing. It's like the only thing that's like really left is that New York Islanders could still lose their playoff spot. They're not, they haven't clinched yet, but they're 3 points up from the rest of the Metro. So who knows? Who knew? Honestly, if you had told me at the start of the season that the conference that'd be the most fun and exciting to watch would be the Metro, like at this point of the season,
I'd have questioned that.
I'd have questioned that for sure. Oh, especially if you were like, oh yeah, the teams that it's gonna be Islanders, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Washington. I would have called you slightly crazy.
Yeah. Yep. It's just crazy. Oh dear.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I guess we can end it here then. Who knows? We're gonna have a big episode on Thursday, as it's the last day of the regular season, and also our final episode before the start of the playoffs. I'm so not ready.
How is it happened so fast?
I know that's the thing. It's happened, like 82 is so many games, yes, but also, boy oh boy, does it go by so very quickly.
Yeah,
and
it's sped by.
And also as well, like we have, it's gonna be very much go go go. We're gonna have very little breathing room for us, because we're gonna dive into the playoffs. Playoffs are gonna take us till mid-June, and then we'll have maybe 2 weeks if we're lucky, depending on how late the finals go, like how many games they go, Stanley Cup finals. And then we're gonna have awards, draft, free agency, all within a week.
Oh God, don't mention free agency. I don't even want to know how many times my heart is gonna be broken into a billion pieces again this year.
Yeah, there's quite a few guys who I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, so I think definitely, we're still figuring out what we're going to do for the draft and free agency and that sort of thing. I think we'll have some guests, but I'm very excited for next week.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for next week.
I'm so excited for next week.
We've just figured out something for next week that we have for the show, and I'm so excited.
It's gonna be a good one.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. This has been one of those things where it's like, ever since we started the show, we're like, oh, we have to do this, and we're finally doing it. But we're not going to give away too much yet.
Just know it's exciting.
Just know it's exciting, and yeah. So enjoy your the last few days of the regular season before things really kick into high gear. Maybe stock up on pimple patches or something this week. Should buy a box.
Oh my god, I've got a new spot coming through as well as of today.
I noticed one today coming through. I was like, this is stupid. I'm like, I'm not even like stressed in terms of like work or school stuff because like that is all.
You see, I've had the joy of having the stress of playoffs and the stress of every possible piece of coursework having a deadline right now.
Yeah.
So it's really fun.
Yeah. So with that being said, we'll end it here. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you on Thursday, where we get to recap the final two Leaf games of the regular season, as well as probably some other news. And then dive into the playoffs. That start this week. I'm really not a fan of the NHL's Twitter account being like 5 more days into the playoffs. I'm like, I don't need a countdown.
No, it's like
I have the calendar at my desk that I had to rewrite the new date into. But yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for listening. You can follow the show on Twitter at From the Fourth Line. That's 4 with the number 4TH. You can follow the show there. You can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us there as well, so you get notified to whatever the episode goes up. But we're here every Monday and Thursday. You can follow Marcie on Twitter at 60Leafs. You can follow me at PairB1. Thank you so much for listening. And for one final time in the regular season, go Leafs go.
Go Leafs go.